Hi everyone, and welcome back to this channel of crafting, crochet and knitting. How are you guys doing? Merry Christmas. We are well underway in Advent now. How are you guys doing? I hope you're finding ways to make Christmas fun this year. We have been baking, we have got more baking planned, and I've been crafting, of course, naturally. So these guys featured in the video last week as well. Obviously I've spoken about my little reindeer before, and I just thought it would be really nice to have him up for Christmas. So he's sitting up here with my elf on the shelf. Now, elf on the shelf has like a mixed bag. He's kind of like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. I actually used Elf on the Shelf last year around the office at work. I snuck into people's offices and took pictures with something iconic on their desk that they would recognise and be like, oh my goodness. So yes, Elf got everywhere, and then as a reward for them playing along with Elf's trickery, Elf baked them some Christmas themed cakes, including gluten-free ones for people who couldn't have gluten or dairy. So yes, Elf got into some mischief last year, but I think he cheered everybody up. Everyone seemed to be excited about what would he do, and I don't make my elf do anything horrific to anybody. Some people pull incredibly, sometimes cruel pranks on people using the elf. I don't do anything like that. I just get him to do some fun poses. He sat in my parents' Christmas tree last year, which actually looked a little bit creepy because if you didn't have the flash on, you couldn't see him because of the Christmas lights, and then if you put the flash on, he's just there in the middle. It's just quite fun. So yes, I have Elf. Elf is sitting with my reindeer for now in the lounge, and then over the course of the next few weeks I will see if I can't get some silly shots of him that I could show you in future videos with him and my crafting bits. So let's put him back up there for now. So yes, I have been crafting. Just got a couple of knitting things to show you guys this week. Disclaimer, I did not make this jumper. I wish I could make this jumper. It's actually one of my plans next year to design and make my own Christmas jumper, because I really want to make something that has the really nice like Fair Isle patterning to it, but is slightly more Christmassy than just the Fair Isle, so with things like the trees or with reindeers or something like that. So I need to plan that. I need to get way better at knitting garments, which is stage 1 of 2021 crafting for me. And then I need to make the jumper, so you will see that progress in due course. Hopefully it will turn out well. But I have been making other garments, and as you know, I have been big on the socks this year. And I thought it was a bit daft not to have a Christmas pair of socks for me and my husband. So I've made these. Oh, I've dropped one. Great start to the reveal. There we go. I've made these. So these are my pair. They are matching socks. They're both made with West Yorkshire Spinners Holly Berry for the main part of the sock. So those are mine. And then I have just some, I can't remember exactly which line it was, but I'm pretty sure it's Drops, which is the red cuffs and toes. And I think it's also a Drops, but a different brand for the green that makes up the heel. So that's my pair. And then the pair I made for my husband, very similar, but he has got green cuffs, heel and toes in his pair, so we can tell each other's apart, not just by the size but also by the colour. And also I needed some red for another pair of socks to use up some scrap yarn, which is why I've got green cuffs on mine instead of going for all red. I really, really like these. They are so Christmassy. They were so much fun to make. So this is the first time that I have changed colours in a sock. And it was really cool to learn some things about that actually. So joining it, that's fine, that's not so much a problem for me, but then how to keep that join tight and how to continue to work it and how to weave it in, that was something slightly new to me, and I tried a couple of different things and had varying success with these. So one thing that I did was I would loop my new yarn around my needle, and I would loop the old yarn around the needle and pull up 2 stitches, and that seemed to work really well at like tightening it. And I do like 3 stitches with both colours on. Sometimes what I would do is I would keep the tail of the new yarn in that stitch too, so I was actually pulling up 3 strands at a time. That was a bit more bulky. So even though I was only doing 3 stitches, that you can feel it, particularly in my husband's pair. You can feel the thickness of where I've done that. Let's see if I can find an example, because I can probably tell where they are. That one was a bit better. There it is. So there's this, you can't see it obviously, but I can literally feel this is where I added the new stitches, because there's just so much thickness in there. The other sock, it was right in the middle of the row that I had to join, so it might be a bit more obvious on his foot. But it had to be done, so you know, couldn't do anything about that. So I think I've just learned a few things about joining neater. Pulling up 2 strands so that I could just drag that old yarn along a bit wasn't too much of a problem, but dragging up 3 definitely was. So I would need to find a better way of using, sort of holding the tail in position to keep that tension. One of the other ways I did it was actually just in a colour work way, so carried the yarn. I didn't know how to do that at first, because I haven't knitted in colourways before, which is a skill I would need to learn to do a jumper like this. But I worked out how to carry the yarn, so I would carry the old colour whilst knitting the new colour, just for a few stitches to lock it in before leaving myself a long tail. So that was another thing I would do. So tried a couple of different ways, had a few preferred ways for future socks, but definitely worth playing around with. Like I say, I had never actually done a separate colour for the cuff, for the heel, for the toe before, so I'm going to be doing a stripy pair of socks in the new year, so I was using this as an opportunity to actually try those joins and how I would carry the yarn and how I would make sure that it was nice and tight gauge. So yeah, I'm really happy with how they came out. I do think though that my socks ended up better than my husband's socks. What can you do? And the other thing that I am super proud of is I made a pattern. I had a fair bit of general guidance in the form of a hat that I made for a baby one time. And I was following a picture, trying to copy a picture, but I made this. So this, if you haven't seen them, covers a Terry's Chocolate Orange. This is not an advert for Terry's Chocolate Orange, it just so happens to be the type of chocolate that fits underneath my cover. I could just as easily put a fruit orange under there, but I would rather have the chocolate. So this is not an advert, but it covers really nicely the Terry's Chocolate Orange. So what I initially did, and I worked this pattern out one way and then worked backwards to get the other way. So I started at the top and knitted on a number of different stitches to try and work out how it worked best. At first I started with 6, and then I found that that didn't spread out enough to get the desired circumference for this orange, so I ended up making 8 stitches and then working it out, increasing as necessary to get it to the size of an orange, and then doing these garter stitch rows for this sort of creamy edge, and then doing a rib stitch for the body. So I did this top down, and then I did the reverse for top up to actually get a nicer finish, because I definitely preferred decreasing and the look that decreasing gave on the top than the increases. So I I have the prototype because I've gifted away all the others. So this is increases. I can't show you the difference exactly on the top, but I definitely prefer decreasing on the top. And then I just crocheted up some holly and some berries. I did find the holly stitch. I can't remember where from. I will find out where I found the holly. This is crochet, so it's knitted for the actual cover itself, and then the toppings are crochet. So I very much prefer doing detail like this in crochet. I will find out where I got this pattern from, and I will put it in the description. The berries I just made up myself. So I think I did 6 crochets into a magic loop and then decrease them after a row. I can't remember exactly what I did with those, but I just made those up. So we have Christmas pudding cover for a Terrace Chocolate Orange, which I absolutely love, and will just be really decorative for as long as the orange actually lasts inside it. I can't imagine that's going to be particularly very long. So yeah, some Christmas knitting for you guys there. I am getting super excited for Christmas with all the baking and the crafting that has been going on and how decorative everything looks. I hope that you guys are able to enjoy some part of Christmas too, that you're able to get in touch over the phone or video calling your families. And I will see you guys in the next video. Please leave pictures to your Christmas crafts or links to your pictures of Christmas crafts in the comments down below. I would love to see what you're getting up to. And yes, sorry, as I said, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.